15 Things You Should Never Do in South Korea. South Korea, an East Asian nation on the southern half of the Korean peninsula, shares one of the world's most heavily militarized borders with North Korea. It's equally known for its green, hilly countryside dotted with cherry trees and centuries-old Buddhist temples, plus its coastal fishing villages, subtropical islands and high-tech cities such as Seoul, the capital. If you're visiting South Korea for the first time, here are our top 15 things that you should avoid doing in the country, so you don't accidentally offend the locals. Number 1. Never dress inappropriately. While short shorts and skirts are commonplace for women in Korea's major cities, exposed shoulders and low-cut tops are considered taboo elsewhere. Summers get hot in South Korea, so loose-fitting t-shirts are a good alternative to tank tops. And if you really can't cover up that cleavage, be prepared for some not-so-pleasant looks, especially from older Korean women. Number 2. Never use one hand to receive or give things. Use both hands when accepting the change, or passing something at a dinner table. If you feel ridiculous handing a cashier a bill with both hands, try this: place your left hand on the inside of your right wrist as you extend your arm with the payment. Also, try to always accept and present things with your right hand. Number 3. Do not talk loudly on public transportation. Part of good social etiquette in Korea means being quiet, or keeping your voice low on public transportation. Locals think it's rude when other riders are talking too loud or acting too boisterous. Avoid the dirty looks by respecting this norm, and try to remember this key thing not to do in Seoul. Number 4. Do not eat Western food. You're visiting South Korea, so you should enjoy the local cuisine. Come with an open mind and be prepared to try some interesting and unique dishes. Korean food is very different from most Western meals, so it may take some getting used to. Besides, Western and foreign food will end up being much more expensive. Number 5. Don't expect all ATMs to accept your foreign card. Not all ATMs in Korea accept all foreign cards. I recommend visiting large banks such as KB Kookmin or KB Hana for best results, or check to make sure the ATM is marked as a global ATM. These global machines accept most foreign cards, and also allow you to choose from various different languages. Come prepared with a bit of Korean won before entering the country, or pick some up at the airport ATMs before entering the city. Number 6. Don't use Google Maps. Google Maps does not fully work in South Korea. You can use it to map out your public transportation routes, but you cannot use it for walking, driving or biking directions. For some interesting security, legal reasons, Google isn't permitted to offer such services in the country. Instead use Naver Maps or Kakao Maps, which are the local Korean navigation systems. They can both be switched to English under settings. Number 7. Do not wear your shoes indoors. Wearing shoes inside people's private homes, temples and some restaurants is a big no-no. In Korean culture, it's extremely rude to wear your shoes inside these designated no-shoe areas. There should be provided slippers for you to wear instead. This is actually not only something not to do in Seoul, but really a rule for all of Korea, if you plan on traveling to other places in the country. Number 8. Do not join a cult. Not to scare you, but there is actually a cult in Seoul that specifically targets foreigners, and tricks them into joining their ceremonies. The rumors are that a pair of friendly locals will approach travelers to strike up a conversation. They will then invite you to a traditional Korean ceremony to try on a hanbok, traditional Korean dress, and it goes on from there. It's not dangerous and pretty harmless, but just a scam and a waste of time. Number 9. Do not visit in the winter. Korean winter can be brutally cold and the landscape becomes very grey and lifeless. If you can't stand the cold, visiting in winter is definitely something not to do in Seoul. The temperatures can get well below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. To see the country at its most beautiful, it is recommended to avoid December to February months if possible. Number 10. Do not throw toilet paper in the toilet. Many establishments in Korea do not permit flushing toilet paper down the drain. Instead, you're expected to throw your used tissue into a garbage can. This is due to old infrastructure and plumbing around the country, so throwing your tissue in the garbage helps prevent clogs and blockages. Number 11. Be careful with your hand gestures. When gesturing for someone to come over to you or when hailing a cab, be sure your palm is facing down and you move all your fingers in one sweeping motion. As is common in many countries, making this gesture palm up is insulting in Korea because it's how they call their dogs. Don't make that mistake. Number 12. Watch out for the number 4. The number 4 is unlucky in Korea because it sounds similar to the word for death. You may notice many buildings don't have a 4th floor, or it will be labeled F. It's also considered unlucky to give gifts in 4s. Number 13. Wait to blow your nose. Yes, that gochujang, red chili paste, is spicy, but go against your instincts and refrain from grabbing a tissue. Blowing your nose in public is considered rude, especially while eating. If that drip just won't quit, politely excuse yourself and take care of business in the restroom. Number 14. Don't mix different types of trash. Korea uses a system called jongnayangye for the effective collection of garbage wastes and to reuse natural resources. All garbage that your household produces must be disposed of properly, or you may be fined. Garbage must be separated according to whether it is common garbage, food waste, recyclable and large waste objects. Number 15. Never leave your chopsticks stuck in rice. It may sound odd and you've probably heard about this. Chopsticks that are placed upright resembles the incense burnt at funerals, and it is also said to bring bad luck. Bringing up death at the dinner table is definitely not a good idea.